DOLE-143, series of 2015 responds to Section 4 of RA 10028, otherwise known as the Expanded Breastfeeding Act of 2009, and Section 8 of its IRR. These provisions authorize the Secretary of DOLE to fix the details in the execution and enforcement of the policy set out under RA 10028, for the DOLE Secretary to grant a 2-year exemption from setting up a workplace lactation station, upon application by private establishments, who may opt to qualify for exemption. An establishment may be granted an exemption, provided that these conditions are met. There is no nursing or lactating employee. There is no pregnant employee, and there are no female clients visiting, or transacting with the establishment. All private establishments, whether operating for profit or not, located in one address. For example, there are 3 branches of one company in Manila. All 3 branches should each apply for exemption, if they are qualified. To apply for exemption, 2 copies of the following documents should be submitted. Duly accomplished application form, signed by the owner, president, manager, or their authorized representative. The form can be downloaded at www.pwsc.dole.gov.ph. Copy of certificate of previous exemption, if applying for renewal of exemption. Submit application at the nearest DOLE field office, which has jurisdiction over the establishment. Aside from personal service, submission can be made through courier, registered mail or email. The DOLE Regional Office shall act on, review, and verify the application within 15 days from the date the application has been received by the Regional Office. If necessary, the DOLE Field Office shall conduct a validation or ocular visit. If the application is approved, a certificate of exemption shall be issued by the DOLE Regional Office to the establishment, upon determination that the establishment is eligible for an exemption. The certificate of exemption is valid for 2 years. It shall be displayed conspicuously at all times in the work or office premises of the establishment. The exemption can be revoked in the event that there are changes in the employee profile such that there is a nursing or lactating employee, or there is a pregnant employee. An application may be disapproved if the following have been found out by the DOLE-RO during the validation. There is a nursing or lactating employee. There is a pregnant employee. Incomplete submission of the required documents. Incomplete entries in the application form. The DOLE Regional Office shall indicate in the application form the reasons and recommendations, and immediately return to the applicant establishment the application form filed. Facilitate establishment's compliance and thereby advise the establishment to set up a lactation station in accordance with the prototypes or models, as provided under Part 1 of Annex A of Department Order No. 143, Series of 2015, or adopt the lactation station equivalency guide as provided under Part 2 of Annex A of said DO, in case it is neither capable, nor feasible to set up any of the prototype models, or develop, in consultation with the workers, a workplace policy that protects, promotes and supports breastfeeding program. DOLE-RO should also inform the establishment that there are 4 prototype or model lactation stations to choose from, if they are required to set up one. A common lactation facility may be set up among establishments clustered in one area, location or building, adopting any of the 4 prototype models. However, there are establishments with peculiar workplace circumstances, which prevent them to set up any of the 4 prototype lactation stations previously mentioned. For example, an establishment may be small in physical size, may have very few workers, and may be far from the communal lactation facility. For these kinds of establishments, the DO provides an equivalency guide. There are 4 options in said guide. from which D establishment can choose one that suits their situation. For option 1, the employer should provide breastfeeding gapes, shawls or nursing covers. In option 2, the employer should provide a screened corner, like a fitting room. In addition, coolers for storing the expressed milk should be provided. Option 3 encourages the employer to support the LGU-installed lactation facility in the area. Breastfeeding gapes, shawls, or nursing covers and coolers should also be provided. Lastly, option 4 calls on the employer to support a common facility, and send their lactating employees to use the facility. Not to be forgotten, granting of not less than 40 minutes lactation breaks is mandatory. Presence of a workplace breastfeeding policy is also a must. Adapting any one of D's suggested equivalency guide would qualify the establishment as compliant with the law. The company should bear in mind that there are sanctions and penalties that the DOH may impose upon him, in case of unjustifiable refusal or failure to establish lactation stations, and/or observe mandated lactation periods, for its nursing employees. The LLCO, on the other hand, shall not recommend the issuance of a certificate of compliance on general labor standards to D establishment until the deficiencies are corrected, within a prescribed period of time. This is a form of sanction, which DOLE may impose, pursuant to the policy enunciated under DOLE DO 131, Series of 2013, as amended. The findings on non-compliance shall be endorsed to the DOH for appropriate action, a copy of which shall be furnished to the Bureau of Workers with Special Concerns, or BWSC. Section 28, Rule 8 of the IRR of RA 10028, provides that the DOH shall be principally responsible for the implementation and enforcement of the provisions of said law. The DOH, through its regional offices, shall be directly responsible in imposing sanction or penalty and collection of fines imposed upon establishments. Accordingly, DOLE, as part of the implementation mechanism, and as member of the monitoring team, shall refer to the Office of the Secretary of Health, for appropriate action, those establishments which do not comply with the law. Furthermore, the Manual on Labor Laws Compliance System and Procedures for Uniform Implementation, by analogy, provides that, if there are violations of labor laws and social legislations which concern other agencies, endorsement shall be made to the appropriate agency.
For more details, visit www.bwsc.dole.gov.ph, brought to you by the Department of Labor and Employment. More than jobs. It's decent jobs.